Hello, welcome to the queue. Welcome to step 1 and 2 of the painting of Midway. And I should say the Midway planes. So probably, if I paint the ships, I'll do that as a separate video. But for the planes, step 1 obviously was to put some magnets on some of the planes and the carriers. And for Midway the game, you don't actually put your planes on the carriers, which is kind of interesting. You actually put them on these carrier operations cards. But these units will be used also in Axis and Allies and Global War. You can't spend this kind of time painting these up and then just, use them for one game. So we're going to use them for multiple games. So we've done the magnet part, and we've done the spray paint, and I've tried a new technique here. And I'm going to try and keep the focus on that plane, but I've got that primer gray on the bottom of the US planes, and then the top. Let me grab another one here, so you can see that the top is the actual color that the planes, and this is the early war color, the darker blue that you see a lot of the other ones on. You know what, let me just pause right now, and I'm gonna go get one of the other ones. Alright, so there you can see here on the right, this is the darker blue. That's the later World War II navy color. I've got my planes painted up like that. So this lighter color, I really like that look, so I'm going to put a bunch in there. I also used a different green for these bombers in this game, and I really like it a lot. The downside is, do I have to repaint all my US forces over there in the box? I don't know. So anyway, trying something different with that gray on the bottom. You see these. Well, I've already did it. How about that? I didn't even know, or didn't even remember that I did that on those US planes the first time. Alright, so scratch the whole new gray on the bottom speech that I was given. But as you can see, we got to do some painting. We got to paint the canopies, and I just kicked the tripod. Thanks for that. Let's paint the canopies, paint some detail marks. We've got the decals here. Also the early war decals that the US planes used had this red dot in the center. And they actually phased that out in May of '42. The Battle of Midway was in June of '42. So I don't know that all the planes had that painted out, but they went to this star without the red dot. So you can kind of see they just kind of took that out. And if you're fighting Japan, that's your reason why you take out that red star or the red circle, because maybe that red circle is visible from a greater distance and you could mistake your plane for Japanese. So they went with this one, and then I think late in the war is where you get the US flag that is, I was looking to see if I had it over here. I don't have it here, but it has the bars on the side of the circle with the star. So that's the more modern decal. So, and of course Japan's just the round red. Some people call it the meatball. So I won't be making you watch all these painstaking hours of the cockpit painting. We're going to paint the bombs and the torpedoes, paint some different markings on the planes. If I did make you watch all that, it'd be a couple hours, and actually probably be longer than that. Probably most people would turn that right off. So step 1 was the magnets. I didn't do all of them. I just did a handful that I'll use in both games. Step 2 was the spray painting, the two colors there, and then of course the Japanese were all white, but I did do a couple in the army green, just because there's just so many planes there. So step 3, I will come back and show you the painting detail on the individual planes. Alright, so step one was the magnets on the bottoms of a few of these, you know, maybe about 2 dozen, a dozen of each, you know, dozen US, dozen Japanese. Then of course these bombers too, because those are pretty cool. Step two was the spray painting, and I don't remember if in the earlier section of the video if I showed the spray paint that I used. For Japan was the Blossom White, Wildflower Blue for the US, and I didn't get the paints for those. I'll be right back. Alright, for the US bombers is oregano, and then hunter green for the Japanese green planes here on that side. And those are all satin, with the exception of the hunter green being gloss, which doesn't matter because after I put the decals on, then I want to completely coat it to protect the decals because they can peel, so I'm going to spray it down with this clear matte. It seals, protects, and revitalizes. I don't need to revitalize because they look pretty good anyway. So anyway, that's why that'll take that. You can kind of see maybe on there on the hunter green where it's a gloss that those are a little shiny. They'll have that matte finish, and really actually the wildfire blue and the white, they're good to go as they are, I think. Anyway, I digress. There is the painting, which was step 3, is the detail painting, and for the cockpits I used this game color gunmetal, and I have another gunmetal gray here from Model Color, but it's a lot darker, and that canopy I've used it on some other planes. It is you know, it's a little too dark for me. This especially if you go with a wash, you know, that silver color on there kind of darkens up a little bit and actually looks pretty good. So that's a good spec. You know, straight up black for the Japanese planes. The Model Master, it's a red. I don't even see the guards red, and Model Master for the yellow is chrome yellow, which didn't know there was such a thing. So anyway, it's a variety of different paints, you know, from hobby stores and online. Alright, we'll do a little quick scan over here. It's focusing all over the place, but you kind of get a little better view, you know, maybe what some of those planes look like. And honestly, do a better, closer detail look when we get the decals on and get that clear coat on there, and we will do that. That'll be step 4 will be the decals, and then step 5 will be the clear coat, and we're ready to go. In between the detail painting and putting on decals, I tried a couple of these washes here, and you can see here these two planes are, you know, as is, but I don't like how they're so dirty looking after the ink wash. Now it brings out a lot of the detail, you know, in the planes, but it turns them so dirty, you know, the whites, and I think that's beyond what I want. I used the dark tone, which works pretty well, but like I said, that on the white it makes it dingy, and even on the blues, I mean, probably doesn't show up as well as I would like here. But on these, I tried also a couple different, you know, from this company here, Citadel, different shades. This was an earth shade, and this was like a darker or a blacker one, and you can see the same results there. I wish I had a lens that got a little closer. I keep saying that I'm going to have to invest in one, because I think that's about as close as I can get with it staying in focus. So, and these were even darker and dingier and crustier looking, even though the detail came out. Now, I did try it on these two new vehicles that I had painted up, and it's basically, it's, I don't know if you can, like I said, you can kind of see that it's a kind of a rocket launcher half track, you know, German half track. And you know, I did this one here, and this is just the spray paint, but this is one with that shade on there, and it really pops the details, you know, a lot better than dipping it, you know, I think. So definitely for the vehicles and probably the ships, you know, we'll go that route. But I think for the planes, I'm just going to have to leave them as they're painted, you know, as these two, you know, just because that dingy, dark, crusty look I don't like at all. So there you have that. We'll go on to the decal part next, and then finally cover them with a spray matte varnish to take away that shine and also hold that decal and the paint in place. So here we have the finished product, minus those planes that I tried those washes and stuff on. I'm going to redo those all completely and bring them up to speed like that, so get a little closer look up at what we got. And quite a few of these I'm going to move over to my other set that I play with all the time. Went ahead and put the magnets. You can see a little magnet on there. And so like these B-17s as well, really like that detail on there. Not so much on the bottom, but the stickers, I think the decals turned out really well. So I've got a decent amount of US and Japanese planes that will go on the table to be used every day, and then the rest of these I'll put back in the Midway game. One final look at the planes of Midway. Thanks for watching this hopefully short video on the painting of these planes. And someday I might get into doing the Navy side, the ships and the carriers. Thanks for watching. Until next time, keep rolling dice.